Hi colleagues, welcome back to another video, and in this video we will be discussing some things that Mr. Hansi Flick needs to sort out before the season really gets underway, right? We're going to mainly focus on the second half of Monaco versus Barcelona because that's the game that Monaco was able to really exploit Barcelona's defensive system. Guys, I want to thank you so much for 6,000 subscribers. Continue to subscribe. It's been a long journey for me, but thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. At the start of the second half, we did see that Dominguez and Gundogan actually came up. So let's get right underway. At the start of the second half, we kind of saw like this back three with Kounde staying back a little bit more, which allowed Alejandro Balde to go a little bit higher. On paper, we did see a double pivot, but actually in the game, it was Marc Bernal that was a single pivot, allowing Marc Casado to go up higher. So Barcelona kind of like had this 3-1-5-1 situation going on. And when the ball would circulate, Kounde would actually draw this player into a press. And therefore, Monaco had like a lopsided 4-3-3. As the ball would be released into Casado, we did see that Kounde did make a late arrival, allowing Pau Victor to go inside. And if this happened, you would see that Casado would take out the deeper situation going forward. Here we see the classic back three as we've seen over the last 3 years at Barcelona with Kounde, but Kounde wasn't static at all. He wasn't there constantly. He was movable actually. And here you see he's drawing this player into a press, which ultimately leave open the half space and ultimately sets up the 2-on-1 numerical advantage that we would later on see then with Casado and Victor. And here you see they are actually in a 2-on-1 situation as Casado will receive the ball in turn, and Kounde of course makes his late run to be part of all of that. And here's the first thing for me that Flick needs to solve right away. The involvement of Kounde is really scary because look at how many space we are leaving open at the end of the day over here. And not only that space, look at Bernal, he's a single pivot. Are we going to have the line come out, or what are we going to do? Are we going to have Casado dropping into this space right here and being a little bit further away, and then you can see now it looks balanced? But like I said, these guys are all over here, so the transition, Barcelona would instantly be killed. And you're going to see it's actually the goals, they came from those situations and situations like that. So that's the first thing that Flick would needs to solve actually, because how are we going to defend transition when we're committing so many players forward? I just want to quickly mention this. I also think that Flick should start building up with a double pivot. The single pivot is not working, guys, honestly, because it's easy to mark with the opposition. And look at Kounde. Kounde is far away from the ball, and he's the real option for Barcelona in this situation, right? And we are so wide and vertical. Our passes and long passes would have to be insanely accurate. Like we know, Casado was a lot higher than Bernal was when he was the single pivot. And we know that Casado actually multiple times he likes to drop into this position right here. But in this game, it was actually Kounde who actually took up the position right here. And then that would draw the players out, and then they would do accordingly. And the same would happen on this side when Rafinha would invert and Balde go forward. Barcelona would swap Inigo into this position right here, and he would take up their position. If Kounde did take too long to get over here, then we did see it was Gundogan who came all the way here to get into this position right here. And the positioning of this actually forced Monaco to defend a lot more narrow, and Inigo being so wide, meaning that he could get Balde into these crushing positions many a times in this game as well. Kounde's positioning right here is brilliant actually, because like I said in the previous earlier in the video, that if we were going to have him high along with Casado also high, that's suicide, right? You can see here that Inigo can also come and operate in a half space, and look how narrow Monaco is defending here. So a lopsided and movable back line of three is not that bad, right? You can see Kounde here. This is normally where Casado would come out to drop, right? But Kounde stays back. This is actually the answer, like I said, to have him Kounde higher up the pitch and having him back. And you can see here Inigo as well, along with Balde. So Balde will be pushed a lot higher than you would normally see him, right? So great tactics. And we do see that Gundogan came into that area as well if Inigo and Balde were too far away from each other. So this is kind of like the answer to us having so many players high. And even higher up the pitch, we saw the same thing where Kounde is in the position where Casado would normally drop, allowing Casado to go a little bit higher. So that means these players cannot go up high, because then they would leave 2-on-1 situations going on here. Nobody can come from the midfield really, because that would open up Casado, right? And if the forwards come and press Kounde, that would open up the pathway to Bernal, and then the switch for Barcelona would be on. Like I said, we saw the same thing with Inigo Martinez, you know. Inigo operated here in the half space, and then Kounde would be the one shifting over, and that left the space to drop over here, and Gundogan can even come in here. So this is a great tactic, and I think we should rather go this route rather than having Kounde, both Kounde and Balde high, and have this situation going on here, because it's not going to work. We're going to be very open to the opposition. In an attacking sense, it makes a lot of sense for Inigo to come forward because he draws the players, and then we have that one-on-one situation or two-on-one situation over on the flank, meaning Balde will be in a lot of space. You can see here the half space in Rafinha, so there's a lot more space, because ultimately if Casado stays deep, he's going to keep them narrow, which leaves the space out wide, right? And you can see here the same thing with Kounde. Kounde can shift over into that space that Casado or Gundogan would normally drop into, and then he's going to draw a player, and then these guys will have space. And you see here straightly again, we can see the situation for Barcelona going on, but this is honestly going to make us extremely vulnerable in terms of counterattacks. Now here's something that definitely needs to change, which is this 4-2-2 nonsense that Flick has going on here, like this, right? It was easy for Monaco to get us all through to one side, and you know the problem with this situation is it's so easy to derail Barcelona right here, right? Because like Monaco kept on playing through these situations, and they kept on receiving the ball just next to Marc Bernal, because Bernal has to be close, right? And that would draw them on to one side, and then we got the wings totally exposed, right? And then the goals actually came here by this way. We thought that they were going to play the ball over to the left, and the player actually got it through here, but it happened here on the edge of the box, right? And also with the other goal is that run that the guy made in behind, receiving the ball from the flanks. This is the major problem that we have. It's too easy to derail. Like I said, it's with one pass they can completely shut us down completely, right? Especially in this space right here, because it was so easy for Monaco to get Barcelona like looking like this right here, and they would easily receive the ball in acres of space, and then they could literally destroy us anywhere they would like to, because look, they have 4 runners ahead of the ball. So that was the biggest problem, and I think this needs to change. It wasn't a problem against Valencia because Rafinha was very good at pressing, but this is going to be a disaster against bigger teams that has better passes. Like I said, we actually pressed a lot better when it was Rafinha that was way forward in order to have some intensity, and I actually think that Flick will over time add the intensity there with this structure need. But it's really, how can I say, it's easy to get us out of position in this structure right here, which is not a good thing for me. And look at the pass that was played for the third goal, which is terrible, right? Because if you have better passes, you know, if you play your Real Madrid, your Manchester Cities, we're gonna be ripped apart if we continue in the structure, right? Look at Minamino just receiving next to Gundogan, and actually think Gundogan leaving is a great idea. It makes sense in terms of the intensity that we need, and also for the wage bill, right? A lot of people might agree with me or disagree with me. I don't know, but I think, like I said, look at how Barcelona is not organized. If you look at that picture right there, they're not organized at all, right? And there's the goal actually, and so you can see how narrow we have to be as well, because that system makes us narrow. And if guys actually take advantage of the wings, we can absolutely be ripped apart. So that is something that Hansi Flick needs to fix, guys. If you have watched the video up until this point, I want you to comment down below 4222. All right, comment 4222 if you watch up until this point. As always, guys, please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get this family to go bigger. We upload weekly Barcelona content, and if you're a Barcelona fan and you're interested in tactics, you would absolutely love this channel. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.